Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music 10. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to a new album review and live album spotlight segment. And this is the album we're going to be talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, Tears for Fears, Songs for a Nervous Planet, released on October 25th, 2024. This is their latest double CD live release. This has been released in various formats. It is released through Concord and Universal Music. This is a follow-up to the 2022 release, The Tipping Point. This has been released in digipack format, which I have here, also in multicolored vinyl formats. And I will show you here some of the pictures from the release with your patience. There you go, guys. Some nice shots of Kurt Smith on bass and Roland Orzabal on guitar, both on lead vocals. There is one more picture to show you of the group, of the duo. There you go. Good shot. Now, as I said, this has been released in double CD digipack format and vinyl, multicolored vinyl format. Now, the album is split up into two sections. There are 4 studio tracks on the standard edition. There is a additional 5th track, a studio track, I should say, on the US exclusive edition. I don't know why they didn't include that on the standard edition, but that's what they did. And the one track that is included on the US exclusive edition is called Landlocked. Now, the live material for this album was recorded on July 11th, 2023 in Franklin, Tennessee. And performing with the band for this tour, you have, or the touring band is, I should say, Janae Sims and Jasmine Mullen on background vocals, Jamie Wolin on drums, Charlton Pettis on guitar, and Charlton Pettis has worked with Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith in the past in terms of songwriting duties. You also have Doug Petty on keyboards, and you have Lauren Evans on vocals and background vocals. Now, as I said, the album is split up into two sections. The album leads off with the 4 studio tracks on the standard edition. And the live portion of the album has 18 live tracks. Okay. Again, you know my stance on live albums. For me, if you're going to release a live album, make it a live album. Don't release studio tracks, you know, um, along with the live album. It just, to me, kind of feels like you're adding on tracks as an afterthought. I know that's not what they're doing, but it just feels that way to me. So I'll go through the tracks with you quickly. The lead-off track is called Say Goodbye to Mom and Dad. And it's a good track. I mean, I've always said this about Tears for Fears, as I put this down. I've always looked at Tears for Fears as thinking man's pop. This is not bubblegum music. Um, and all of the studio tracks and the new tracks, they talk about, um, looking back on your life, questioning what you've done, questioning the people around you, questioning the establishment. Have you done all there is that you can do in your life? Can you do more to improve your life or to improve the lives of people around you? And these 4 songs are no different. The next song of the studio tracks on the album is called The Girl That I Call Home, which is a lead-off single. Good song with Roland Orzabal on lead vocals. Um, Up next is another track called Emily Said. And the studio section ends off with the second single from the album, Astronaut. Now, out of the 4 uh, studio tracks, to me, Astronaut is the weakest track of them all. They could have replaced it with Landlocked, as far as I'm concerned. But I digress. Now, the live section is where things really pick up. It starts off with No Small Thing from the tipping point. And before I get into this fully, I got to say, there is a good representation here of the studio discography of Tears for Fears, with the exception of Raoul and the Kings of Spain from 1995. I really wish they would have put one or two tracks from Raoul and the Kings of Spain because I think it's a very underrated album. But I digress. Now, No Small Thing starts off the live section, and Roland Orzabal is in fantastic vocal form on this track, as he is with the rest of the album. The audience is into it, and the band are in top form. They segue into The Tipping Point, the title track from the album of the same name. Again, beautifully done. The thing with Tears for Fears, doing it live, doing live shows, sorry. Um, they've criticized this in documentaries and in interviews, but when they were performing in the 80s and I guess into the 90s, um, they would use a lot of sequencers and drum machines and uh, just a lot of programmed instrumentation. So basically, like for doing the tour for songs from the Big Chair. They basically had to do both songs from the Big Chair and The Hurting verbatim as it was on the album. There was no room for improvisation, for stretching out musically. And it sounded to me like they kind of resented that. And they had to do those over and over and over again. So it got old to them pretty quickly. But I gotta say, with this album, with the instrumentation, there is room to stretch out musically, to do a solo here and there. So it's a good combination, I guess you could say, of programming and live instrumentation. Um, the tipping point again, the you know, uh, second live track on the album is a good version of this. They segue into Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and you've got Kurt Smith on lead vocals, and he does a fantastic job on this. Then they go into Secret World, sorry, from Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. And to me, this is my favorite track on the album of Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. Now, the studio version is very grand, very epic, very uh sophisticated in terms of its orchestrations and stuff. It's a very emotional track, and although this is done live, this is it's no less emotional and no less grand or epic in terms of its performance, and it's done beautifully. And Roland Orzabal on lead vocals is just stunning. Then they go into Sowing the Seeds of Love from the Seeds of Love album. And at this point, the crowd are going ballistic. They're going crazy. Okay. It is just amazing. After Sowing the Seeds of Love, you have Break the Man from The Tipping Point. And again, there's a good representation of this album on the tour. Obviously, being the tour for the album. Um, they don't just stick with the hits. They go into album tracks and they do it very well. And the audience is very receptive to this. Now, after Break the Man, Kurt Smith is back on lead vocals for Mad World from The Hurting. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Very, I don't want to say epic, but he's in command of this vocal. It's just stunning. Coming up next, you have two tracks from The Seeds of Love, Woman in Chains, and Bad Man Song. Now, Woman in Chains, for me, has always been an emotional track. And Lauren Evans does a fantastic version of the vocals on this version of the album, I should say. The original being done by Oleta Adams. Lauren Evans is just stunning. And this track is no less potent than the original. Then they go into Bad Man Song, and this is where they stretch out and have fun. It is like bombast. It is epic. It is brutal. It clocks in at 10 minutes and 11 seconds. Now, when I hear this, as I hear the studio version, I feel like I've been to church because it's rock, it's soul, it's gospel, it's all of that mixed up into one, you know, beautiful mess, let's say, okay? It is just stunning. And then there's a midsection where they go into a bit of an improv where they can sort of again stretch their musical muscles and just just go off and have a good time with it, right? But the audience are eating this up, okay? Then after Bad Man Song comes a fantastic version of Pale Shelter with again Kurt Smith on lead vocals. It is just beautiful. Um, then they go into Break It Down Again from Elemental. And again, I was surprised that they would uh, you know, use, a perform a track from the um, non Kurt Smith era of the band. Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. Um, as I said, they should, if they were going to include a track from Elemental, they could have included a track from Raúl and the Kings of Spain. And this version of Break It Down Again, which was the lead-off single from Elemental, I think it's just stunning. I think it's beautiful. And again, Roland Orzabal's vocals on this are just fantastic, beautiful. Then the main set ends with a beautiful, rousing rendition of Head Over Heels. And what they do with Head Over Heels, as they do in the studio version, sorry, they end it with the tail end of Broken, which they did on Songs from the Big Chair, and they do it beautifully. And it's grand, it's epic. At the start of the track, the piano comes in, and again, it's grand piano, beautifully done, very opulent, very epic, and very big. You know, uh, the audience are eating this up. It's just great. That ends the main set. They come back on for the encore, and they do two encores. They do a good version of Change from The Hurting, again featuring Kurt Smith on lead vocals. And they end off the evening with a rousing rendition of Shout. Um, Again, they play a little bit, sorry, with the arrangement of the track, but it is just simply beautiful. And the crowd are into it, the band are into it. You can honestly tell or hear that the band are enjoying what they're doing on stage. And they can quickly tell you that it wasn't always that way for them when they would perform live. But Shout ends off the album, and as a live album slash studio album, I gotta say the live stuff, live material, sorry, is stronger than the studio recordings. Although it is still new and I'm still listening to them and getting used to them, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I guess it's just gonna take me some time. But you know, it is a good album. So for yourselves, you can get this on Amazon. I got my copy for $27.99. You can get this on Discogs and on eBay at this point. And before you buy it, stream it on YouTube. The entire album is available on YouTube. So even the extra studio track Landlocked isn't available on YouTube. So again, don't take my word for it. Please check this out. Let me know what you think down there in the comments below of the new Tears for Fears Songs for a Nervous Planet album. And yeah, just let me know what you think. Again, personally for me, if you're going to do a live album, do a live album. Don't put studio tracks on it. To me, that kind of it, mm, it's not the same. For me, a live album should be live from start to finish. Okay? And again, don't truncate it by making it a single disc. Make it a double live album because you have enough material to perform that people will love, and you'll have a good representation of your studio catalog. So that's it for now. Please click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. I've got more shows coming up with Jim Bricker and Ken Cheshire and Bill Schuster. We're going to be ranking the studio albums of Steven Wilson. So that's going to be fantastic. That's coming up soon, and I've got more ideas coming up. So Please stay tuned for that. Please click like and subscribe. And again, hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. All right, guys. And with it being Halloween, excuse me, with it being Halloween, please look after yourselves and one another. Go have fun. Don't have too much fun. Please stay safe and enjoy yourselves. All right. Have a good night. Bye for now.